day. He didn't play amazing, and he's had a difficult, let's say, last 2 seasons. He had a really good period, I think, at the start of last season. But basically, he hasn't been the player really since he was the double football of the year and helped City win 4 leagues on the bounce. Do you or did the club know why? Because that's quite a long time for a player of such quality to sort of not be quite at his best.
I'm quite happy for Phil game against the last game against Bournemouth, to be honest. Also, he played winger. Second half, he was a little bit more inside the pitch. That is the position that we know is best position for him. But again, in this moment, with the Jeremy injury, we are trying to find a solution. But I'm happy with the Phil in the way he was the other day, knowing for sure that he can give much more. But no doubt that he's going to be again the Phil that we all know and we all want.
So just picking up on that last point, considering all the sort of senior players or big players that left, are you confident Phil can be, one of your leaders and one of the sort of big forces for your City team this season?
I don't know if he can be one of the leaders, but for sure, as you said, because many players left, he has to give one step forward in terms of personality, leadership, and these kind of things. But again, since day one, I'm very happy with, very pleased in the way he's working, and also in the way he's with, his mood. He's happy, he's good.
Enzo, Gvardiol has spoken about how you introduce new things to the way the team defends, and players don't really like to come out of their comfort zone. So how are you finding the reaction of the players to these new things? And I don't know how much you can share of what you're doing new for them.
No, the reaction from the players has been very good since day one. They want to, also know new things. In the way we try to work with the defensive line. In the past, with the Leicester, we conceded less goal of the league. With my first season at Chelsea, was the first best defender. Last year, when I left the club, we were 4th best defender. So it's a way that give us results. This is the reason why we believe a lot on that, and we are working now. It's more or less 1 month, and I'm quite happy in the way they are working.
So the reaction has been, give us more, tell us more, send more videos in the WhatsApp or whatever it is. That's the reaction of the players.
Yeah. We try to, we try with the coaching staff when we try to install new concept. Also, in terms of video meeting, 1v1, we try to let them know in the way we want to be when we defend and when we attack.
Hi Enzo, it's a bit similar to what Guillaume was saying about when Joško Gvardiol was talking about the new challenges they're facing. I think specifically he was talking about him being the fullback and having to press to jump up into the winger. It's obviously not an easy role to adapt to. I think we saw maybe Bournemouth's goal came from that situation at the weekend, and then the Kluivert chance was similar. Like, how long do you think it will take for the players to adapt to pressing in that way that you like?
I think we are quite close. Against Bournemouth, in terms of pressing, we recover 76% of the ball. That is fantastic result. 76% of the pressing, we recover the ball. Then happen that once or twice you don't recover and you can concede. But it's normal, it's football. But I think we are, the player, they are understanding in the way we want to defend, to press. And Joško the other day off the ball was very good. And then on the ball he scored the second goal. So it was good.
Is that just how football is at the moment with the quality in the Premier League? Like, you can win 76% of the balls, but then if they have 1 or 2 chances that are really good chances, do you just have to accept that that's normal, or is it something still that you can work on?
It's football. At the end, you cannot control everything. But personally, it's much better if you are able to recover 76% of the ball than 50%. That means that you give less chance to the opponent. But again, you cannot control everything. Can happen in set pieces or can happen in any moment.
Do you remember your numbers or those numbers from your previous jobs? Like, is 76 the norm for your teams, or is that especially high?
No, To be honest, I don't remember. I know the percentage because the day after when we analyzed the game, watching the game or with all the numbers, they gave me this number that is an important number.
Hi Enzo. Pep would always tell us that he quite liked a small squad here despite challenging it in 4 competitions. Just from your perspective, do you prefer to work with a smaller group or a larger group to give you more options?
No, I think probably the right idea is to have 2 players in each position, also because they need to compete between them. The standard, they are higher when they can compete, for every game. So for me, the ideal situation is to have 2 players in each position. And then we have Ryan Makedo with us, Samba with us, Caden with us. So I think with 3-4 also academy player with us is enough.
If there wasn't to be any more business before the window shuts, would you be comfortable with the number that you've got, given that you've got Champions League games, League Cup games, FA Cup games to come this season?
At the moment, I think we have 21 or 22 players. That can be the right number. But also in this moment, we have the 3 or 4 players from the academy that they are involved in this number. So probably thinking that we are going to play 65 games, 60 games, 65, I don't know exactly. Probably we need more numbers, probably.
And just from you personally, you were here obviously as an assistant before you became a head coach yourself at Leicester and things. You know some of the players from your time here. Has your relationship with those players had to change, given that you were once the assistant and now that you're the boss? No. Also because in the way I like to have relation with the players, it's quite simple relation, so it doesn't change. What changed a lot from my previous experience here is that I think 90% of the squad is not here. I think it's Erling, Ruben, and Phil, probably, Rico. 3-4 more players, no more than that. So the squad is completely new.
Hi Enzo, since you arrived sort of 2 months ago, there's been a huge turnover of players and possibly more to come. How do you go about fostering a spirit and a camaraderie within a group where there's been so much change? Pep liked hugs. What's your sort of approach?
Since I joined the club, already 2 months. It's 2 months already. Anyway, since I joined the club, I knew that, with 10 years with the same manager, also the idea was to change players for different reasons. As I said, players that they were not playing many minutes, they have the desire to leave. Player that for any circumstance, any reason why they decide to leave. So I knew that there was a big change, in terms also of squad. But again, I'm not. It's not something that I'm worried about.
And tactically, how difficult has it been to get messages across to players when you've had ones coming back from the World Cup late, you've had some players involved heavily in pre-season and then leave, and you've potentially got, you have got new players and potentially more new players to come. How difficult is that?
Oh yeah, has been complicated again because you want to install new concept, new things. It's new manager, even if there are similarity with the previous one, but at the end, all the managers are different, all the players are different. So has been a little bit complicated because players are late. Now we don't transfer. That's why the Margay solution, or probably for tomorrow another different solution, is because we need to. It's my duty, my job to try to find solution for the players and trying to help the players to win games, because at the end they are the ones that they go inside the pitch and win the game.
So is it fair to say we won't see perhaps the best of Enzo Maresca's Manchester City until certainly after the window closes, but possibly later into the season?
No, the only thing I can say is the same thing I said after Arsenal game, and the same thing is now after Bournemouth game, that there are things that we did quite well in the previous game. There are things that we did quite well against Bournemouth, but there are many things that for sure we are going to do better.
Last one again.
Enzo, good morning.
Good morning.
To go back to Bouaddi, it's perfectly clear he's a very talented player, but what is it that you saw him and the club see in him for now and for the future? Specifically, what are his attributes, would you say, going forward?
He's an old midfielder. He knows he has the right balance between defending, give balance to the team. On the ball is very good because Also, he is in the right position. He is where he has to be when the team has the ball. And he's very intelligent. He's just, again, he's 18, but he's very intelligent. And no doubt that he's going to be a fantastic player for this club now and in the future. But again, with 18, you never know how long they need to adapt.
But you kind of hinted that we have an expression that someone is older than they look.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that in terms of his football intelligence?
Absolutely, yes, 100%.
He's doing a degree as well, isn't he?
Second?
He's doing a degree at university as well.
Yes, yes, also. Yeah. And I met the family here, the training ground. I met already the dad a week ago speaking, but now they were here. And you can see that is in terms of presence, is intelligent and he looks very good.
How good do you think he could become in the future? Not now. I understand there's no pressure on him. But
I think he can be a top player, no doubt. But again, we need to help him to do the right path. We need to help him to give minutes in the right moment. It's not just arrive, go inside, and because the pressure, because most of us, we judge players in how much we pay. That is not like this, unfortunately. But no doubt that he's going to be a top player.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.